It's game day, Seminole fans. The Noles versus the Gators, the fresh from Florida Sunshine Showdown. I'm Lane, he's Tim, and we're going to give you your 3 keys to a Florida State victory, beginning with key number 1, field position. If you watched the game preview, you saw the stat. Florida has had 8 drives of 50 or more yards in the last 5 Florida State wins. You had to make them go a long ways, maybe create turnovers, create a special teams type play.
Yeah, look, anytime you're playing a team that has struggled offensively, and I think it's okay to say that Florida fits the bill this year, you don't want to make it any easier on them. So protect the ball, do well on special teams, man your P's and Q's when it comes to kick and punt coverage, and make them go as far as possible, as often as possible.
Key number 2, speaking of special teams.
Kind of spoiled that one a little bit.
Well, Tim, you know it's going to play a big role in this game. Florida has struggled mightily over the past few years in field goal kicking. However, their punter is excellent. Florida State may be struggling a little bit with punting and kicking at times this year. Could be a huge factor.
Yeah, I think when Florida State's kicking and punting units have been right, they've looked fantastic, but it hasn't always had the amount of consistency that you'd like. We saw Florida State last week against Syracuse. They blocked 1 punt and came really close to blocking 2 or 3 more. The other side of that was when they didn't, sometimes the coverage units weren't as everything you want them to be, and that just goes back to what we talked about on point number 1 is, special teams lapses in the kicking game can lead to short fields for the opposing offenses, which is what you want to avoid.
See how everything melds together here with Nole Insiders?
Hey, it's one big pretty picture.
Now, key number 3, Florida State, the top pass rush in the nation, 41 sacks on the year. Florida down to their backup quarterback. Again, we've talked about this, and it's really played out that way the last couple of weeks. If you make the guy uncomfortable, you can make it a long day for them.
Yeah, and it's been the case all year, but I expect a big game out of DeMarcus Walker. Had probably at least one of his best games as a Florida State Seminole in Gainesville last year. There's just something about this game and this rivalry that brings out the best in some of the best players, particularly guys who are from the state of Florida like DeMarcus, and who this game sort of means something to him. So I expect him to have a big role. I'd look at Brian Burns, number 99, fresh off of probably the best game of his career at Syracuse, to play a big factor as well. Teams are having a really hard time matching up with his size and his speed. So Florida State's pass rush, once again, should be front and center if they can have the kind of performance that they had a week ago. They had 8 sacks a week ago. Good grief. If they can replicate that to even any small degree, it'll definitely work in their favor.
There you have it, Seminole fans. Your 3 keys to a Florida State victory. Make sure you stick with us post-game. Tim will have his written analysis. We'll have highlights, video reaction, and you'll hear from head coach Jimbo Fisher and the players as well, as Florida State looks for win number 4 in a row against the Gators. For Tim, I'm Lane. Go Noles.